Nanjazal woke up in her own haven, feeling rough from the previous night's celebrations. She asks Lug to drive her to Yanis's haven, where she lies in her bed to rest. When Yanis goes to check on her, she tells him about how her father is gone from this world. Yanis is displeased with Nanja's behaviour and lets this be known to her. Dermot meets his friend Kat Gomez, a university researcher, in a secret bar where she tells him everything she found out about old pagan religions and the worship of Kostroma. Dermot listens attentively as he gains a deeper understanding of Yanis's faith. Matilda goes to the new HQ to get some headspace and work on her campaign. Once Dermot returns, they have a conversation about the other members of the coterie and investigation around Caleb. They also make the necessary arrangements about Matilda's campaign party at the tobacco factory. Yanis also shows up at the HQ with Duchess. Dermot immediately flees as he sees the massive dog come into the haven, but eventually realises she's very well trained and not aggressive at all. The following night, Yanis asks Nanj for help. He wants her to keep an eye on Father Michael's church and stay vigilant. The coterie then goes to meet with Teach. After some back and forth, the coterie manages to convince Teach to summon Caleb for questioning. Matilda tells Nanj about the life boon she owes Abassi as a warning, lest it come up when talking to Caleb. Once Caleb shows up, Teach and Matilda confront him about his involvement in dumping Scott's headless body into the river. Caleb caves, and breaking the library's laws around confidentiality of boons, confesses that he did so as a service to another kindred who now owes him a life boon, Reginald Partridge, the child of Clara. Meanwhile, Dermot and Janice have a chat while waiting for others to question Caleb. During the course of their chat, they discuss the nature of faith and similarities and differences of their religions and beliefs. The night ended with the coterie discussing a plan to talk to Reginald alone.
Hello and welcome to this, the 9th episode of Season 2 of Blood on the Severn, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Bristol, England in the year 2017. With me tonight,
Pax playing Nanjazal of the Ministry.
Peter playing Janusz Kroll of Clan Chimitsu.
Dermot Bryan of Clan Malkavian.
And Alice playing Matilda Wells of Clan Ventru.
So, last session, we ended things with the coterie making arrangements to do the campaign party event at the tobacco factory for Matilda's run. Her post, she's running for representative of the BS3 area for the Anarchs. And I believe the plan was, of course, that had already been arranged between Matilda and Dermot, especially with the help of Audrey and Squid, Squid is the sort of like the campaign lead doing stuff, and Dermot's agent. You've managed also to secure a live band together with, of course, DJ O'Shea. And the whole idea is for Nanjazal to get a hold of Clarence, asking to meet him during the event, in which the intention is for Matilda and Nanjazal to have a chat with him, where Nanjazal will use her boon, the one she has over Clarence, to try to garner support for Matilda from him, whilst Dermot and Janusz have a friendly chat with Reginald, his child, who is the person Caleb says he was, getting rid of the body for. Am I correct in the full assessment of things? Starting to feel like Ocean's 11, but it's Ocean's like Rivers 4 instead of Ocean's 11, but okay. So, I think then it would be good to start with that scene, unless you want to have a conversation before the party. We can jump straight to it. Invitations were sent out, and people will show up. At least the relevant people you are interested in. So if there are any sort of conversations or scenes that you would like to have prior to that, just let me know. If not, we can jump straight to Bouguet.
Sorry, there you go.
No, after you.
No, I just think Matilda at some point beforehand would have gone up to Nanj and said, the boon you're cashing in over Clarence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's technically, I mean, you're helping me out with it. I know it's part of the plan. But the major I have over you, just like consider it a minor.
Well, all right, if you say so, but that don't seem right to me.
Why not?
Well, because we're a group, aren't we?
Yeah, I know.
We use these things to help each other.
Yeah, but
So,
it's useful for you. So, I mean, a boon over a primogen is pretty big stuff.
well, it's only a minor, isn't it? And he's a primogen in name, isn't he? But basically in charge of one person. It's a bit like me and Lug.
It's a little bit tragic.
It is a bit tragic, isn't it? But that's what you get when you're in camera, love. They
Yeah.
like to wear titles, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, don't get me wrong, let's say that to him, am I? But
no.
it's
Let's maybe not when we let's have a bit of calmness, politeness.
I mean, I reckon that's not how'd you say it? It's not equitable to do it that way. Besides, if we help you out with your other problem, the one with that we talked about the other day, maybe if I help you out with that, then you can do it. So it's a nice offer of you, Matty, but you're running a campaign to be elected. Strikes me, you need all the boons you can get, pull them in on people, get stuff to support you. That's the way politics works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You should run.
I should run.
Not for this one.
There's no bastard that's going to vote for me, not man or beast.
Well,
That's not. But anyway.
Okay, it's fine. If you don't want to take it, that's all right. But I just thought I'd put it out there.
It's kind of you.
Yeah.
It's kind of you.
It's all right.
But yeah, I don't think it's right. Anyway.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so
Sorry to interrupt, Carlos,
yes.
but if the scene we're about to jump into is one that's going to take place a little way into the party, then probably before that point, Janusz has made an agreement with Dermot that he is going to listen to his music and go into this venue and experience it. So whilst I don't necessarily think this is a major scene, it's probably worth. I as a player would just like to have a sense, because what Janusz will probably do is he'll go there and he will find a position that seems like he can because he won't know how this works, so he'll be looking for like the musicians and stuff, right? But he'll be looking to go to a place where he can see Dermot and where he thinks the musicians are going to be, so he can wait to listen for the music to start. I think it's going to be his.
Okay.
And yeah.
So, I'm gonna play it from the moment Janusz and Nanjasol arrive to the party.
Okay.
Dermot, of course, would have been there earlier, making sure that all the audio setup, the sound system is working to his requirements. Also, that the live band that is going to perform also have performed their sound check and all that. And one thing that is very important in these scenarios, and like to say from previous experience, is when you have a live band and a DJ, each of them with their own setup, one of the most important things to do is first fight over all the plugs. I mean, it might not look like a thing. It is a thing. Trust me. And another one is avoid interference. So feedback and loops and things like that with monitors and the like. So by the time Nanjasol and Janusz arrive, they will arrive early, like just as early as it can be, with the people that are doing the final touch-ups and the earliest of guests. And Nanjasol can feel Dermot going to town. What you're listening to right now is a mashup mix cover of the patch modes enjoy the silence, but
Good,
not
very
but
good, well done.
but Dermot is using the cover from Italian metal band Lacuna Coil and electronic sounds, sort of like Dua Lipa style, and making that metal cover into sort of electronic grunge. And
What
it's
you- what
really
you mean is
interesting.
He's taking the pure form of Depeche Mode and ruining it, is what you mean.
No, actually, for Nigel, it's going to be interesting because Lacuna Coil's lead singer is a woman.
Lacuna Coil are great.
Yeah, and the lead singer is a woman, and the backup vocals are done by a man, so they harmonize and they do a lot of that. And of course, it has more of a metal bent to it, and Dermot is softening it into sort of a more core Depeche Mode, but with modern sounds. And it sounds really good.
Okay.
It sounds different, but it's one of those covers that you go, I'm not even mad at that. I could enjoy it. Given the setting, it's very appropriate.
Okay.
So Janice will...
This is playing as we arrive.
Sorry, this is the one that is playing
Playing as we arrive.
as you arrive.
Okay.
So Janice would expect to see the band. You can see the drum kit and some of the instruments and everything. But then to another, like to one side in a console, there's Dermot. Or at least you think he is, because he's carrying... Well, Rob, could you please describe DJ's O'Shea's accoutrements?
So he's just he's probably there in not the he's a different jacket, so it's a bit more brown leather, so not the traditional sort of black that he has. Still random t-shirt on, but instead he has essentially like a face over, so it's like the whole face is essentially blacked out. Like you can't see any of the actual features. There's still a hat on. It's not quite the same as his sort of normal baseball hat. It's more of a wider brimmed kind of thing, a bit more gangster style. And again, just hanging down, there's something that kind of prevents any kind of sight of his actual features. But it almost looks like there's a bit of a sort of a wraith-like kind of quality to it with the drapings, just kind of hovering there. But otherwise, he's not too different. He's not recognizable as Dermot's normal style. There's aspects of it, but it's different.
And for Janice, it takes some effort to not only recognize, yes, that is Dermot, somehow, maybe, perhaps he's hiding himself, but he seems to be a one-man band. With all the equipment he has, you see him switching from board of lights to board of lights, making changes. And the way when he does, he moves little levers and knobs and things, and the music changes and ebbs and flows and gives a sense of a mood. So it's very different from what Janusz is accustomed to in terms of music.
But I think also important with the lighting will also kind of reflect some of this too. Mm-hmm. So there will be a feeling of the music playing, but also the lighting kind of moving with it, essentially.
And I guess the best way to describe it to Janusz is it feels like the music from old, where it was more about, singing about emotions, when oral tradition was a thing and people would put stories and poems into music and then recite them, and it was like stories would set a mood by the singer and the people accompanying them. It's very different in its execution, but in its essence, it's the music without a lyric is telling a tale. And every so often, lyrics pop up, but you realize soon enough that they are pre-recorded from like other songs, And by taking snippets from one song and another, Dermot is managing to weave a different story by picking and choosing what goes where. So, whatever Janice's opinion on the matter, I guess you will voice it. So,
so we're coming into this together, the two of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'll say it's going to be loud, mind, like louder than what you probably you're used to. So just bear that in mind.
Well, I'm not a stranger to revels and people singing loudly and making a noise. You think it will be more than that?
Yeah. I think it's likely to be louder than most stuff you've heard. It's sort of designed to be that way. It's designed to be loud, sort of.
Well, I'm. Thank you for your warning, Nanjazal. I will prepare myself for the onslaught.
All right. Well, we'll go find them, shall we? Right.
Yeah.
So
whenever we presumably can go and see him,
Yes.
or we can go and find him, or
Yeah.
Okay.
So Naj will know that when he's in the DJ O'Shea character, he will not wave back at acquaintances. He will not do anything that might give away who he knows and who he doesn't know. Or alternatively, he will just wave at everyone. So it's part of the act.
Okay, so I'll say so with DJ, it's like a persona. So he ain't gonna act like he normally does around you.
I understand.
He's not gonna acknowledge that you're there, probably.
He's maintaining a mask.
Right, that's right.
Very
I think that's him over there, though.
Yes, I wondered if that was him. Very interesting what he's doing with his face.
It's a mask, isn't it?
Yes.
What?
But the kind of mask he's chosen is interesting.
I mean, I can't remember the last time he came down here, but I think he normally has some sort of get-up like this. But I reckon what he's put together here is pretty good, if you ask me. It's a good song anyways, this song, but it's not a... He's done something interesting with it anyways. I reckon we should go on over there.
You want us to get closer to it?
Right.
Right. But won't that mean it'll be even louder?
Yeah.
Aye. But it's sort of I don't know, he explains it better than I will, but there's something about being inside the sound.
No.
Or being connected to it in some sort of way.
I understand that, Giselle. That is part of the experience. To be transported by the sound.
Right, exactly.
Yes, to feel it in your bones.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, I must do this if I am to...
It's like the air, right? So it's like, I suppose it's a bit like a way to connect with Peru.
Well, we shall see.
All right.
I assume at some point when those two come in, Matilda would have made her excuses to whoever she's talking to and headed over to Yanish and Nanj as well. If they're walking over to DJ O'Shea.
So we're heading over to the speakers, I imagine.
Well, to where Dermot is.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. All right, Mai.
Yeah? Oh, no, yeah. I mean, thanks. What do you think?
I think this is improving this cover. Because I've heard this
Really?
cover before, but it's not like the real version of the song. He's doing some interesting things with it.
He's good. He's really good at his job.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's not too many people can improve on Depeche Mode, let me tell you.
I know. Is she wearing a Depeche Mode t-shirt right now?
Yeah.
She usually is, yes.
Lovely.
Like this one, which says reach out and touch faith.
I think it's very interesting that he is choosing to speak with so many different voices.
Quite right. He's telling some kind of story with it, kind of different voices over the other ones.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't understand what they're trying to say, but I think the message is
That's fine.
important.
That's part of it. You don't need to understand. You feel it.
No, Matilda, this is important. This is exactly what he wanted me to hear, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is his true voice, Matilda. He's Yes, I can't understand it, but I know it is that the message is there. We just have to listen.
I think there'll be a lot more messages tonight. I think you're gonna have to listen real hard, discern them.
Yes, I will do my best.
I'd probably doing a bit of dancing at this point, I guess.
Yes, and actually he's weaving it with, like, he's not only doing those mashups with like a very, like, a cover from a very famous Depeche Mode done by an Italian metal band, but he is then using, like, mixing it with like really current stuff like Dua Lipa and The Weeknd and things like that. Then he does something similar to other songs, Come Undone by Duran Duran, or Bowie, 5 Years.
He's dropping all the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me anyway, as a player.
Yeah. So he's giving this place an 80s and 90s vibe.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It is.
With some mashups of current trends and sounds, so it's still relevant, but without being disruptive to the flow of the music. Also, there was always this debate: Duran Duran or Depeche Mode, which one's the better band? And
That's not a debate, Carlos. Just so you know.
Well, the thing is that it isn't, because they're very different bands. So you cannot, it's pears and apples.
Yeah,
it's pears and apples. So if you can like both, like me, and be perfectly happy with that. He throws in some grunge though. There is some more early and mid 90s stuff. So for example, there are covers done by Pearl Jam. Or just Pearl Jam or Nirvana songs, if he can get away with them, because after all, Nirvana did make a cover of The Man Who Sold the World. So he's looking for those, and he is making this a sensory thing, because the area that has been set aside for the music that he's playing and the live music is next to, but slightly separate from, other common areas like the bar that the Cringer are going to be using. Yeah, right. And and other seating areas. So there's a small divide there. So you can still be in the event, but not next to the music, and you can hear it like slightly loud ambient music or background music. So you can still have a chat and maybe have to speak slightly louder, and that's it. Or you can just get into the thick of it, and especially when there are moments of ebbs and flow. There are times in which DJ O'Shea is performing, and other times in where there's just a background thing, preparing for either the cover band, the tribute band to come in, or for DJ O'Shea. So it's sort of like a 2-act night. And then you have this soft ambient sound in the background.
At some point, when DJ O'Shea is really going for it, Janusz is going to find a place where the music feels like it's centering, and sorry, go on.
Just to that point, you can get these directional kind of speakers,
and lighting.
Literally, if you're only in certain places, you can actually hear that particular part of the music. So likely to avoid trying to affect because it's a relatively small sort of space. As you look the whole thing, it's not like it's got lots of different rooms. The areas for sort of the music, he will have tried to say, well, there's ambient music around the place, but then if you come into the space, actually it's a bit more like you're actually in a club. So then, but only the people in that space will kind of be experiencing that.
So Janusz is going to go to a spot where the music is kind of focused, where he thinks the center of it is. And then he's going to kind of open himself up to the music. And in his mind, what he's doing is he's kind of trying to understand what Dermot is saying, but also whether this is something that has any resonance with the true gods, right? Whether this is a true spiritual musical thing or not. Because he thinks that it could be. And he said that he would give it his full attention. So that's what he's going to do. Kind of on every level that he can open his senses to it and see if the gods speak through his music or not.
Well, I'm happy to let this be an unspoken dialogue between the two characters, where Dermot uses music to send a message, and Janusz can interpret and react to it and sort of talk back or speak, So what is sort of the theme or the mood that Dermot is trying to convey? And most importantly, can it be religiously misinterpreted by Janusz? I think that is the most important point here.
So, most certainly, there is an aspect of this, Carlos, that is Dermot reaching out across, not just here, but beyond, to try and call others of the clan together. Any who are out there, he's basically inviting. So this is very much this first sort of part of him doing this is an invitation. So the hidden elements within there, an invitation to other members of the clan to come and enjoy the party. So I don't know how that might be interpreted by by Janusz, but there is absolutely an element within there where there is, calling out to people, trying to call them in. So he'll be trying to reach out in that way. Okay. So yeah, I will be using the background, the cobweb thing, to call out.
Oh, you're gonna be calling out.
Yeah, calling out to others.
Ooh.
It's a party. It's an Elysium, so they're all welcome. So he will be reaching out, and people may choose to listen or to answer. But
can you please make a charisma plus performance roll with your DJing specialty applies? And
so what does the speciality provide again?
1 extra die. So when it comes to when you hit the performance and choose charisma as the attribute you're using, it'll ask you for any extra dice or bonus dice. You get 1 for the DJing specialty on perform, and this is you calling out.
Yeah, this is me calling out.
Add 3 dice in addition to it.
Okay.
From your disciplines. It's not that you are commanding them, compelling them. You're using your mastery of your clan's disciplines to know and navigate more effectively. So your voice and your message is clearer to all Malkavian in Bristol. Especially those who are connected. The more they're connected to the cobweb, the better it reaches out. So, yeah. Go ahead. Are you going to do a blood search or anything? I guess not, because I think...
Not this one.
Okay, that's a good one.
No, just going to go for the normal on this one.
Whoa. Okay, so far you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 successes, critical win.
Oh my god.
Even with the 10 on the hunger dice?
That's the thing, but you got 2 10s
okay.
on the non-hunger dice. So when you get to make the pairs, if you go, I like to make it a messy critical, it's up to you if you want to make it a messy crit. But since you have 2 normal 10s, we play that, yes, you grab your 2 non-hunger die 10s, you call that a normal critical, and then let the other one sit as a lovely normal success.
Well, there you are.
So that means that you have a total of 9 successes, critical win, not messy, which is amazing. And that means that you are riding the cobweb as a surfer using the waves in the sea to get to the shore. You're riding the sound waves with your mind. You let each beat, so when the message comes in waves, and you know how to use that to your advantages. Come, the tobacco factory. Tonight, it is here. Brothers and sisters, reaching out, and it goes. And this place is gonna get packed. For a good number of Malkavian will show up. Time to party. Now, Janish.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know how that translates for Janish, but that's certainly what Dermot's doing at this moment in time, whilst you're in the middle of that.
I think I will ask of Janish a resolve plus insight roll to see if he can connect. Since he's focused on him and he's paying close attention, really close attention. Check out with resolve plus insight.
Yeah.
And see if he can connect to that. So
I have got a whole success.
A 1 success. Do you want to?
I'm going to re-roll, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think he's genuinely trying to do this.
Yes. That's a lot better. 4 successes. So, given that Dermot had a critical win, and don't worry, this was a more of a role-playing character development or interaction development role, so that compulsion or things like that would have been, I would have like brushed them aside. But Janish would have felt a sense of community when he's playing the music, in the way he's but also you're analyzing his body language and the way he's moving and the way he lets himself sort of go with the music. His body is swaying and moving, but it's not with intent. It's more being led. He's letting his body being moved. He's not like, oh yes, left, right, left. No. Wherever the music takes him, his body will sway back and forth in that direction. He's deeply connected to it, and more people start joining the dance floor. Of course, for Dermot, it will be evident that the people that are coming to the dance floor are especially Malkavian coming first. But regardless, Janish will also feel it around him. That sense of community is being felt by some of the people around him.
Okay.
Matilda's gonna watch all of these random kindred that she's probably never met before come to her party and be like, great.
Yeah.
I will
Not
be
quite,
joining
no.
the dance floor.
It's like, nice.
So there is, after this first performance of DJ O'Shea, which was sort of like opening act for the evening, there's going to be like a lull in which Matilda is going to be able to do a lot of, social relations and talk to everybody. But if you guys want to have a chat right before Clarence and Reginald appear, then feel free to do so.
Dermot will certainly be trying to switch with a double.
Yes.
Try and basically make sure they can get out, but then there's still somebody on the decks to kind of do some less the formal sort of first stuff, but a bit ambient as the band gets set up and so on and so forth. So you can come and join.
Right. Well, I'll go up to Dermot and just say, that was amazing. Thank you.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's a good night.
It's nice. I mean, there's a lot more people than I look at. Sort of one of the Malkavians that she doesn't know. It's like, it's a surprisingly good turnout. I didn't think it would be terrible, but there's a lot of people I don't actually know.
I didn't want you disappointed, and I suppose, if I'm honest, mate, it just kind of, the floor hits you and the likes, and you don't really get much of a choice. It's just kind of, it's pumping, But anyway, I might have mentioned it to a couple of people or some such, friends and all.
Oh no, I'm not complaining.
You said we could bring a +1 on all, so
yeah, it could be a +20. That's fine.
Well, better the party, the more news gets out and everybody knows you're up there for the vote. No,
thanks, Dermot.
No problem. You mentioned the thing, the favor, and all.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. There's this. I'd heard there was some, like, a Malkavian in the whatchamacallit, in the Anarchs, and I was wondering if you could, like, make me an introduction and all at some point,
Yeah.
and just call it even for that, if you could.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, who is it?
I've heard. Carlos, would I be aware of the name, or I know there's somebody out there, but
Of the Anarchs?
Yeah.
Malkavian Anarch? There's a couple, yeah. You have Lucinda Brickstow. She is also a representative for the BS13 area. And there's also Marcus Shuttleworth, another Malkavian that is around, actually, just to name a few. And these are just some of the Anarchs that are present. For Matilda, it's kind of weird that the representative of the BS13 area is here.
Yeah.
But she arrives. I mean, this is after all like a political thing,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, well, very politely say would have said hello to her when she came in. But for Dermot, I'll be like, well, I mean, there's Lucinda, there's Marcus. Did you just want any Malkavian, or what one particular?
At some point, I mean, obviously it's pumping tonight and all, but maybe just getting an opportunity to have a conversation another time, maybe, you know, when we're not busy with other things, you know.
Absolutely, I can do that for you. Yeah, we can make that happen.
Nice, sounds good.
Yeah, can I ask why you want to have a chat with them?
You know, clanmates. That's all. Just interested in knowing who else are the clans around and all, irrespective of you know, whether they can or not. It's just nice to know who's around.
Yeah, it's nice to have people who understand, I suppose.
Fine.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that.
Cool.
Should go find Janusz and.
Yeah, we should probably get on with it.
Yeah, so Janusz will probably be heading over towards Dermot, actually. I just imagine while this conversation's been going on, it's just taking him that long.
With a cane.
I think
Just going through the people.
Yeah.
I think Nigel will also want to talk to Dermot, but I can answer this.
Okay. So yeah, he will go up to Dermot, and when he kind of gets there, he will put a hand on Dermot's arm, obviously without consent, and say, "Thank you. I understand now why you wanted me to listen.
Right,
A truly
hear
remarkable experience."
I'm glad. There's not many can hear it through the music, you know.
Oh no, I could hear it, and it was remarkable. I understand, and I thank you for sharing it with me.
Hey, you're clearly something special there, Janusz.
Well, I think this is a night for you, not me. And you, of course, Matilda.
Thank you. Are you how are your ears? Like with the noise?
Well, they are. It is a resounding sound, but that is the nature of this experience. It is a thing that must be taken to fully appreciate it.
Oh, you got to feel it all the way through your bones. That's it. You know, if you're not like feeling the vibrations running through you, you're not feeling the proper music.
Yes, indeed. It must be through the bones, Matilda, to truly speak to you.
Have you been up dancing?
Well, I have been opening myself to the music, but I suppose, yes, it is a thing. I've danced on occasion.
I mean, you might understand the music a bit more. I mean, like Dermot says, you feel it in your bones.
You got to lose yourself to it, you know.
Yeah,
like what I was doing when I was DJing, you know, just kind of close your eyes and just do what takes the mood, you know.
No, I agree. It is important to let yourself go. That is a very important thing.
So, one of you, probably Nanjasel, who's part of the conversation but not completely involved in it, sees... Is that Hubert? He seems to be like walking in the background, you know, trying not to be conspicuous at all, not mingling with anyone in particular, really. But he's also here. She also notices Clarence arriving with Reginald. And of course, Hubert is sort of in the way, and way before the gangrel primogen crosses his path, he moves away. Still within the place, just in a corner. Clarence and Reginald just show up normally, no grand entrance of any kind, but you can tell by the way they're dressed. They're not out of place, they're actually quite well dressed. It's just, they're not your typical gangrel at all.
Okay. So does Hubert look okay? Like he doesn't look in distress or anything?
No, he looks slightly uncomfortable when a group of people is near him.
Okay.
But then he makes himself, scarce, goes to another area where he feels more comfortable being on his own, but just listening to the music and,
so
muttering things to himself.
I'll make a note to go and talk to him later.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I will, I'll say to Matilda, looks like our Clarence just got here. Dermot, some point later tonight, can you and I have a chat?
Of course.
Don't seem like now's the time, since Clarence just rocked up with Reggie.
Business first.
Right, gotta be. I reckon we will make a beeline for him.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, May?
Showtime. Yeah, let's do it.
So I imagine you split. Nigel and Matilda go to meet Reginald, and the other two stay behind.
I will be, when we're on the way over there, I will be kind of telling myself under my breath to keep calm.
Okay.
Because
Because you're at Hunger 4
I mean,
still.
Matilda can probably hear this, right? But I'm like,
no. I'll give her a little squeeze
forget
on
these
the...
are twat, forget these are twat, forget these are twat.
Just white noise. Just think of white noise. It's fine.
It's hard to have white noise when you've got to talk to him in his face, isn't it? But it's all right. I'm asking him for a favour. It's going to help you out. That's what I want to.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so when you approach him, he looks very pleased. Oh, Matilda, lovely party that you're throwing. Look at you go.
Very much. Thank you for coming. It's been a while.
How
have you been?
Oh, I've been really good. It's been a busy few months, but cannot complain. May I introduce you to Reginald Partridge, my child? And
my hand up and give him a shake.
Yeah, he very politely is like, oh, ma'am.
I'll shake his hand.
Matilda, and this is Nanjiso. She's an autarky from the ministry, and Matilda here is a Ventru, as I said, running as a representative. And you see that Reginald is kind of like, sort of like, now he's putting like a face to the name, because it's like, yeah, we're going to Matilda's party. It's like, well, who's Matilda,
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Miss Wells.
It's a good party, isn't it?
Really, really good, really good.
Doing good so far.
Yeah, I actually like this music. It reminds me of when I was growing up.
Me too.
The music of my youth.
Yeah. Are you from Bristol, Reginald?
No, not originally. No, I am from East London.
Oh, lovely. Nice. And do you like it here?
Well, yeah, I've been living here in Bristol since high school, so for about 10-15 years.
And how are you enjoying, Kindred Society? I know you're quite new.
It's very confusing outside the Camarilla, because that's what I've been told. But I mean, Clarice has.
Very nice.
No, confusing is right. I mean, confusing is what it is. I don't think actually it matters what group you're attached to when it's all new, right?
Yes.
Because when it's all new,
I know,
don't
right?
matter. To some degree, it's all confusing and it's all new and it's all
Yeah. So I'm also like understanding very well the Camarilla, because that's why I'm being told. But I am taking these opportunities. As Clarence said, this is a good learning experience to go around and see.
You're in. You needn't worry, because Clarence here is one of the best. It was one of the best people to teach you this sort of thing in the city.
Yeah.
So you will be fine. You'll be fine. You'll get used to it.
And you see he turns to Clarence and sort of nods, I think, okay, he feels like he's safe in good hands.
And Clarence looks like a child's got a good head on his shoulders.
Well,
Could we have a word with you, Clarence? Sorry, Reginald.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clarence says, like,
Reg, if you're liking the music,
mm-hmm.
point out Dermot and say, over there, and go talk to him, because he's the guy who put all the beats together. He's a fucking genius, mate. I'm telling you.
It's a big shot.
Yeah,
well,
but
perfect.
I knows him. So if you tell him I sent you over there, yeah, talk to you, tell you everything you want to know about it.
Okay, so he is a little taken aback at you saying yes, go and talk to him instead of making the proper introductions. But Clarence just gives him a nod and he says, "Well, thank you," and he walks towards Janice and Dermot, constantly looking over his shoulder to see if you are gonna signal. Perhaps.
I mean, yes,
Dermot or
I'll
something.
signal them to say, yeah. Or probably more likely, I'll go, "Oi, Dermot! That's Reginald I'm sending over to you." Something like that.
So this guy comes, Reginald, and he sees. He's like, "Oh, I've seen you, Dermot, right? I think I've seen you once when I was introduced." I think you're muted. Sorry about that. I didn't say it properly.
Yeah, we met once. Hi.
So you're in charge of the music tonight? Are you the DJ's manager? I don't know. I also didn't catch her name, but she was telling me that you were in charge of the music.
Yanis, you want a job?
Well, I have. Why are you offering me a job, Dermot?
I don't know. How good did you at music? Managing the music and all. Something you'd done before,
Not really. I'm. My specialty is dealing with dogs. If managing dogs is like managing music, then yes, I can certainly help you.
Not quite. It's more like herding cats,
Managing dogs. Were you a dog breeder in
Yes,
life?
Yes, that's right. And I still do that to some extent now.
Apologies, where are my manners? I'm Reginald Partridge, and he extends a hand.
It's normally best to do the proper introductions, before you get started on stuff. We're all very formal in the cam,
So yes,
things aren't done proper, people can take offense.
Yes, I really apologize, Mister. I am Reginald Partridge, child of the Gangrel Primogen.
So,
Clarence Hillthorpe, and he will give you the full title, practice stuff. And Dermot gives it an approving nod. He's like, yeah, he's been taught well.
Fair enough. Well, I'm Dermot Bryan, Clan Malkavian, and I'll give my lineage as necessary. Mm-hmm. And this is Janusz Kroll, one of the illustrious members of the which group is it? The library.
yes, that's right. I'm part of the library. And whilst I'm not part of the Camarilla, I also agree it is important to do things properly. Of course, you being new and this setting being unusual, it is understandable that you might be a little flustered. Mm-hmm. But in terms of doing other things properly, it is always important to do that. I imagine being a gangrel and being new, you have not met one of my clan before.
No. I have only met people from the 6 clans of the Camarilla. Severn counting us. I have also been explained the situation with the gangrel and the bruja. Because I'd
be a bit careful about just saying that there's 6 or 7. People can get uppity about the number, just say, the members of the Camarilla, the clans of the Camarilla, because it kind of seems to change from time to time.
Would you like me to tell you a little about my clan?
Yes, please. What's your clan again? Sorry.
Chimitsu, and perhaps the thing that marks us out is our connection to the land. Just as I understand your own clan has a connection to the wild spaces.
Well, kind of. It's more of a... Clarence likes to put it as a connection with our... It's sort of this wanderlust and this wild and free spirit. For some, he says, for a lot of people in our clan, he says that it's represented in a connection with the wilderness, because a lot of people like to roam free out in the world. But that's not the case for our particular lineage.
Well, perhaps if we are speaking of your clan in general as those who wish to travel, and it's that which calls to their spirits, my clan are called to places. We have a connection with those sorts of places, you see, for certain things speak to the land and the land hears it. Often things to do with blood. So, for example, if you were to place blood onto the land will hear it and the land will remember. And it is my clan that will hear that message left in the earth. So let us imagine, for example, someone was to leave a body in the land. Then the land would speak to me of such a thing. Do you understand what I mean, Reginald?
Can you make a wits plus insight roll to see if he understands what you mean?
Amazing.
Is that both of us, or just...
Well, are you doing this... Are you doing this looking to get a reaction, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, then instead of being wits, can you use manipulation?
Yeah, sure.
Plus insight, because it's both you're prodding, but also just checking. You're doing that back and forth.
Okay.
Well, that's good. 4 successes.
Yes. About as good as it gets.
Even I can be day successful.
Okay. So he looks at you. Oh. So you are... I don't... Are you able to see things like the Toreador and the Tremere and Malkavian, or is it more like the Tremere's ability to perform blood sorcery, which is still I struggle to I mean, I feel silly just saying it. I struggle to, but I shouldn't, right?
It is not like the Tremere. It is important to say that it is nothing.
It sounds like he's calling you a Tremere.
No, I did not. I was just I'm just curious. I meant no offense. I don't know.
It is perhaps better to say, for I am not like the clans you mention, that I am sometimes shown things by the land, and well, that makes me wonder if there is anything you wish to say, Reginald. Whether you have ever had an experience of this kind.
Speaking to the land, no. No, I mean, I do enjoy the natural spaces, but I'm more of I was in rowing teams and
yet you have made your mark on the land, Reginald. The land remembers you. I'm trying to make sense of what it has shown me. I wonder if you might help me in that regard. Dermot, what is the correct protocol in such a situation? What do you think the right thing to do? We have talked about tradition and such like.
Well, you see, in the Camarilla, it's important that we give all new fledglings some kind of help in understanding the way of things. So we like to help each other out. You know, we're all one community, and we when we have problems, we like to reach out and help one another. I'm one of those people, you see, What was your name again?
Reginald?
Reginald, yes. Now, I'm one of those people, you see, who helps people out if they need to forget anything. You know, covering up any of those little breaches in the Masquerade. So I'm often one of the persons that you might need to come and talk to try and get those kind of things sorted. So generally, Janusz, it's normally that we help one another. And if there were any kind of problems like that, you know, we talk about it, try and help understand what's gone wrong and what you need to do better.
Is that something like a service and you get boons from that?
Absolutely, you pay me a boon. I sort your problems out, you give me credit. Simple enough.
Okay, I'm struggling still to understand the whole boon system. It seems very subjective.
Yes, everything is a little bit subjective. It's not like there's cash.
So people just talk about like a minor boon being something small and a major boon being something big. Yeah, that sounds...
That would be implied by the words you see there.
Yeah, but then again...
I mean, you look a well-to-do fellow there, Reggie. I'd expect that you'd know your words, wouldn't you?
Yes, definitely, but a major boon from someone...
And a life boon would be like a really big thing, you see. Like you owe them your life. It's like if you saved somebody from dying, you'd normally give them a life boon.
Yeah, but major boons are not equal. Like for the same action, a major boon owed by me or owned by me is not the same as one from the prince. Is it?
No, it's all based on differences in things. You know, supply and demand and value. It's, you know, it's like stocks and shares more than it is hard cash.
So is
Things
it
change.
So is it a common thing that the higher in the hierarchy you are, the higher the type of boons or the greater the type of boons you get? So is it
the more valuable things are, you know, sometimes, you know, having a boon on the prince is probably better than having a boon from yourself, you know.
Oh yes, but is it
at the bottom?
Is it a normal thing that, for example, the prince will have more life boons owed to him than other people because he's just higher up? Is that also how it works?
I think it works however it works. I think you'll figure it out.
Reginald, why does the land remember you?
Okay, at this point, I think you're going to have to do a composure plus persuasion roll because you have not changed your tone and also your expression. You are literally entering social combat.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. So, Rob, you were going to say something?
Yeah, Dermot is going to be probably playing with his phone throughout this. Mm-hmm. He has some kind of probably messaging with the DJ just to sort of keep changing the music or adjusting things. And he's just wanting to basically put this guy on edge. You know, he's being a bit more aggressive and is actually intending on using Demon Tate on him as well.
So I'm going to spend another willpower point because that's how I roll.
Well, I mean, you were before you rolled. I needed to know a couple of things. First, the help were getting, if you were going to do a blood search and things like that. So
you're quite right.
So let's go. So Dermot has been used, like dementation is an insidious power that you are using over the course of the conversation. So I think that would be the first roll to make. And after that, we will go to, ideally, slightly willpowered, reduce Reginald trying to resist the persuasion checks, the attempts from Janusz.
So I'm setting him up for you, Elania, so you can just knock him down.
Yeah, that is exactly what is happening here. So could you please roll your dementation?
I'll give it a go.
And I think it is... for dominate, it would be. I think it's manipulation plus dominate for dementate.
I think I've set it up on my discipline, so I'm going to try pressing the button and see.
Yeah.
Magic. And I am going to rouse for this. So is that 2 extra dice?
2 bonus dice, yes.
2 bonus dice. I don't think I have any specialities. No. Cool.
Okay.
So, oh, look at that. That's a bit pants.
Are you going to do a willpower
Yeah,
reroll?
definitely willpower. Definitely willpower that.
Yeah, you have one,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, like 5 dice that non-hunger dice that came up blank, basically.
Here's me trying to remember where the willpower. Oh, there we are. Willpower reroll 3. Yep.
So that's 4 successes against my composure plus intelligence. Well, plus fortitude if I have it. My God. Okay. So you just saying those little voices out. You know, you're having a double conversation with him as you are looking at him when you talk to him. You have learned how to hide a second stream of thought. It's like as you are riding again on the sound, but this time it's the sound of your own voice, and it's the stress and the emphasis that you do in certain areas that is going to send some cues and some messages, and also the music. You're setting yourself up for this. When Janusz calls his attention, it basically takes him up a little bit out of that sort of reverie. So Janusz, you will get a chance to do your composure plus persuasion check.
Yeah. Would you like me to just re-roll it?
Well,
Or
the
do you
thing
want
is that you're having help from Dermot in this regard. From his pool of 3, that will be an extra die. Are you gonna be doing a blood search? Also,
I'll do a blood search. Yeah, well, I'm going to call upon my divine energies.
Okay,
Sure.
So Rob, can I ask for you 2 rouse checks, one for the activation of dementation and one for the blood search you did for the discipline?
Yeah. So I made one. I'll make the second.
So-
Dude, you're supposed to go hungrier.
I know.
+2.
I'm in my element. I'm surrounded by the music. It's feeding me.
Okay, so I've done my 2 from my divine surge, 1
Divine
from Dermot's support, and off we go. Oh, I think I could. I'm going to willpower that because
You have exactly 3 non-hunger
yeah.
dice that are relevant.
1. And then I'm gonna make I've got a rouse check to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Helpful.
So that was a fail on the rouse check.
Yes, that's great. Okay, and you got how many? 5 successes.
Yeah.
You see him sort of like, why would the land remember me? Nothing in particular. Of course, I'm completely inconsequential. And he starts looking over his shoulder. Your words have clearly hit their mark.
I'll remain in social combat.
You will remain.
And I will say, Reginald, you have not answered my question. Why would the land remember you? What blood have you put into the land?
Roll again.
What kindred blood have you put into the land?
Ooh.
Sorry, same again?
Roll again, but this time it's not going to be persuasion. Composure. This time it's going to be... No, hang on a second. You're keeping your tone. Yes, it's going to be composure.
Okay.
And persuasion. You're not intimidating him. You're not goading him. You're not manipulating him. You're
Do I still get a Dermot support die?
Yes, because he's using it through his perform skill.
Yeah. Okay.
As well, sort of like a mix of his how do you call it? Technology and
Okay.
because he's basically puppeteering the music that is being used, but also he's engaged in the conversation, so he has both
Yeah.
performance
Nice.
and persuasion and technology, so he has the relevant skills to provide at least one die
Yeah.
of support.
So I won't rouse this time.
Okay.
I think I've submitted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a bit of time. So
Oh, has that just come up there actually?
you've rolled performance.
You
Yeah,
roll
persuasion.
performance,
Oh,
not
roll
persuasion.
the
You roll.
thing. Let's try the right thing, shall
Yeah, let's try the right skill,
we?
please.
Remember, kids, roll the thing the GM tells you to. So composure, 1. All right, sorry about that. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. So you have 5 successes. Only 1
Yeah.
non-hunger die
Yeah, no, I'll stick
came
with that.
empty. Okay, so you see him like trying to, muster a little bit more of sort of courage. It's like, well, we are all kindred. We have all, at some point, gotten blood into the land. I am afraid that even the young ones are not exempt to that rule, but the older ones are definitely guilty of other things, right? So right now, it was a tie, but you see this took a toll on him. You take 1 point of superficial willpower damage.
Yeah. So Janusz is going to stay in social combat, and he's going to say, sorry, if you want to jump in, by the way, Rob, just say whenever, but he will basically say, if you cannot answer the question, do I need to take this up with your sire? Perhaps he will understand this matter.
As you choose to remain in social combat and mentioned Clarence, he turns slightly over his shoulder, looking to the table in which Matilda and Nagisel are sitting with him. Looks at Dermot, almost pleading, saying, "Not here. There's too many people."
Too many people for what? We all make mistakes. It's what we do when we fuck up that really defines us. So,
yeah, but not everybody should think. No.
You wish to be discreet.
Yes.
Well, we could always go out for a cigarette,
Yes. Let's do that. And he's very docile. Now Janusz is going to start making a walk towards the exit, wherein Dermot just says, "Follow me," and starts walking towards, like, deeper into the place. But actually, he's going to use the service entrance to go to the back, the staff area. Mm-hmm. That is going to be literally empty of people. Not even kindred or kind that are socializing outside. And you manage yourself to be, sort of after a fashion, pretty, alone, the three of you. He says, why would you know of what happens? Do you know this of everyone?
I know what I am shown. And I believe you were about to answer our questions. Were you not, Reginald?
But I didn't do anything. I saw someone do something. But I didn't do anything.
So what you're saying is maybe you tried to help. You were trying to do what you were taught to do. Is that what you're saying?
Fuck that, I was trying to hide.
Hide what? Because people find things lying around, and people need to not remember such things. And sometimes, therefore, people find stuff out, and then people ask questions,
Yes,
and
but
very soon it comes back to the person, and ultimately, even though it may not be their fault, you still get the blame for it.
They shouldn't.
That's how this society works, is often you're at the bottom of the pile and the shit falls on you.
They shouldn't have found anything. So I had this girl, right? Well, we were never a thing, but we were on and off for ages. And now I dropped out of the radar, came back, and now I don't know. This has helped. And we're talking again, and we're close to each other again. She lives here in Bedminster. This is Anarch territory. I'm not supposed to be here without Clarence, or I'm not even cleared to talk to people in the library, and so I can get like permission to traverse. I have no idea. This feels like feudal Japan or something weird, where your every move is monitored by your mentor. So on one of my nights, I just went to see Liz, and I stayed with her. And of course, I'm not stupid. I left. I didn't spend the night. But before I left, I saw someone pretty much. I saw someone kill a man.
Who?
A woman. Couldn't see her face real well, and it's not like I know many people, but she was definitely kindred, because she was really pale. And this man was sort of paralyzed. She looked at him and he just froze. And then she started circling him, and then took this nasty looking knife and stabbed him right in the back of the head. And as he felt limp, I mean, they fell below my line of sight, but I could see her hacking at the head, and sort of sewing until it completely.
Sounds like you saw something pretty bad.
Yeah. Then she just crossed the street with the head in her hand, and left the body there. And this is flat, and I was looking down, and this is the body was on the other side of the fence by some bushes in her flat. Things were gonna get bad, and people were gonna start asking questions, and Clarence would have known I was there, and no one was supposed to know I was there. So I called someone like you said to clean up the mess, and I gave them a boon for it, and they were supposed to take care of the mess. So I don't know why you, mister, are saying that you have the land saying that they saw me, or however it is that your things work.
This woman, what did she look like? You said you did not see her face, but surely you saw something of her.
Yes, she was white. She had dark hair. I don't know if it was dark brown or black. In the night, I couldn't see that much. She was white, very pale. She didn't look super tall compared to the man, but I mean, I only have like the reference from the distance. She was wearing like an old, sort of like a long cloak, like with a hood, but the hood was down. I couldn't see her face because her long hair was covering her features. But I sort of like, she has like, from her profile, from what I could see, she had like this sort of Roman nose. I don't know. If I saw her again, I probably would recognize her. But I of course, I haven't. And the person who dealt with this told me not to bring it up or mention it to anybody.
See?
Did you talk to anyone? Who told you about this?
It is a sorry fact, Reginald, that in this society, you do not get to ask us the questions.
Well, what is it to you? Neither of you are an anarch.
Were you
What's
listening?
that have
what
to
I
do with
said?
anything?
I feel like I'm being questioned, as if like this is like you're the police or something, and I have to explain. I don't have to explain myself. I'm the child of a primogen. And then he composes himself. He remembers his place. He remembers that there's something somewhere out there. There's a point of status waiting for him in his character sheet.
Child of a primogen who'd be, I'm sure, real happy about some of this story.
How do you imagine the gangrel primogen would feel if it was become known that his child was breaking the accords?
I wasn't breaking the accords. I was just.
You were just where you should not be without permission.
Yes, that is different. I was not outright breaking.
You were in a territory without permission. It is a very serious crime.
And in our, in the CAM, there's this thing called domain, You're not supposed to really invade people's domain without getting permission, like...
Yeah, but I really tried to get a hold of that Felicity woman, but I've only been in one event at Ashton Court when Clarence paraded me a little bit to the other factions, but I've not been allowed to mingle with them, so I don't know if that's the only person I can talk to for going into Bedminster. And also, I don't know if Clarence would, like, I've asked Liz to move, and she won't.
Basically, you're breaking the rules just so you can wet your whistle and all. That sounds like a really,
You don't get it. It's not that.
Oh, it's something else. Okay.
And for a moment, you see that feral glint flash on his eyes. And you're like, whoa, he might be a fledgling, but he's still a gangrel fledgling. He ain't no puppy. He ain't no pushover. He's being very polite, but there are some buttons that would be dangerous to push.
So, well, it is clear that you wish this matter to be over.
I thought it was.
A kindred is dead. And the killer is still loose. So this matter is not over as far as we are concerned. Now, your sire is very sociable, and I understand will wish to introduce you to many kindred of the city. I would suggest that you take a great deal of interest in meeting new people in Bristol. You keep your eyes open for this murderer. And should you identify them, you should come and find us swiftly and let us know. And then we might speak of this matter being over.
So,
Give you a number to call. And should you see it or anything, or find anything out about this, or just record anything else, maybe you can give us a call.
what if I see her again? Why should I talk to you and not to the Anarchs and let them know that I found their killer? How about...
You see, you don't really
Wait.
understand the rules yet. So perhaps you just worry about the fact that we're asking you nicely.
But you want me to call you instead of calling the Anarchs?
You want to call the Anarchs? I'm sure that would go well down with the Cam and all. You know, reaching out to have a chat with the Anarchs. I mean, that's the beginning of the end. See what happened with Matilda. Like, you know, you don't end up on the friends list.
There are ways. I know already some people.
Reginald,
I got someone
the
to clean the
conversation
right?
is over. Understand that our coterie is a multi-faction one.
Well, if you want me to call you first, what do I get in return?
You get us not telling your sire, you imbecile.
It's your word against mine.
Reginald.
And I have an alibi. Ironclad.
Reginald, you see, kindred are being killed, you see, and you have an opportunity here. And if you actually listened properly, you seem like an intelligent fella, then you'd understand that maybe you have some actual credit here and some benefit. You know, if you actually contact us, maybe you could help rather than being a bit of a twat. We're all on the same side here. I'm sure that you took the right action. You tried to help, tried to get rid of the body. That's the right thing to do, you know. It's just, unfortunately, things beyond your comprehension just ended up leading us back here. So, we're not enemies. We're trying to help you.
You look at him and he looks really cross at that. He says, "You're from the library, right?"
Sorry, is he looking at me when he says that?
Yes, he's looking at you, Janet.
I am an associate of the library.
You, Dermot. What is the law of the Camarilla regarding a boon that was not? I gave a boon for a service.
Aye, and the service wasn't completed to your satisfaction.
Yes. But I don't think I can go against the kindred themselves without making a huge mess of things. And you see him, he's starting, I mean, of course, you already chipped away at his willpower over the course of the evening, so he's struggling to rein the beast in. He seems to be doing a formidable job, though. Credit to his gangrel blood, but still very feral. And he looks very displeased that he offered, of course, you know it was a life boon. He hasn't said it. And now he's realizing that you are questioning him because there was a cock-up when that boon was being, that service was being delivered, not to his satisfaction. So he doesn't like where he's at. He says, who would be the person that I need to talk to? And no, I don't want to talk to my sire.
Feels like more your territory, doesn't it, Janusz? I mean, who does the boons and all, isn't it? Her.
This is a Camarilla boon.
Aye, Camarilla boon, I see.
So, well, there are those in the library that know the Accords better than anyone. And if you
but the Camarilla boons are the purview of the Camarilla. They don't follow the curse of the library.
Well, normally it's the person who records the Camarilla boons. So no doubt it would have had to be recorded. You did tell somebody, didn't you, that the boons there?
Yes.
Would that be the person you need to take it up with? Of course, I mean, these things sometimes it's best to leave them in your pocket, but obviously you don't want to let it fester there, because otherwise the assumption is that they've done the job, and they say, why didn't you come forward sooner? But of course you might be making a bit of an enemy if you decide to come forward on such a thing. But boon breaking isn't exactly a small thing. I mean, you might be able to negotiate it down, maybe. If it were a big boon that you owed. Maybe you can get it down to something smaller or something like nothing. But you probably want to chat to the arbiter of such things in the cam.
Yeah, Michaela. Since Michaela is a friend of the person I owe the boon to.
Yeah.
But she should be impartial, right?
Have you learned nothing so far in your time? Nothing's impartial in our world. Do you want some support in that?
Yes. I will call you with the information the moment I see this person, or if I recall anything else. First, if you provide me with the support I need to negotiate this boon down, or at least wriggle myself free of it.
Sure, let's consider it an exchange of services. I'll help you with some teaching of the way of things by helping you deal with Michaela, and you give us what information you can if or when you see anything.
He straightens at that. He straightens, fixes his shirt, extends his hand, and gives you a firm handshake and says, "You got yourself a deal." Very formalized, with Janish present, an exchange of services.
Right.
Apologies for my behavior. I could not understand the reason behind your inquiries and your questions. Turns out you're not the people I should be angry at. My apologies.
Bygones be bygones, you know.
I
How do you enjoy the rest of the evening? There's a nice band on in a minute.
I will definitely try. Gentlemen, and he gives himself a moment, breathes in, even though he literally doesn't need to, and walks back inside. So the two of you are out there. What do you do?
Happy with that, Janish?
Yes, though I must say, these fledglings. I think they're going downhill.
Well, you know, you can only lay the blame at the sire, really.
Quite.
He's a bit of a pretentious twat, isn't he?
Yes.
Poor guy.
But
yes, I am satisfied, and thank you for your part in that. It's our
It's okay.
first thing we have attempted together, and I feel it went well.
I hope you don't mind me, you know, with the whole pointing and saying, I think he's calling you a Tremere. I was trying to, like, buck him up and stuff. I know that you probably take that kind of thing personal, like.
Yes, I do, extremely personally, but I understand where you were going with it, so it's...
Good. I
it's
wasn't
an exceptional
actually saying,
situation.
because I suspect that might not have been, you know. I thought afterwards, maybe I might have put my foot in it there, but, you know, all seems okay. But, I
Yes.
mean, we have to cut the guy some slack. I mean, after all, he did try to do the right thing.
Yes, of course.
Oh, credit to him. But he didn't go and get himself killed. Could have been two bodies that night.
Yes, I understand all of that. I just wish he had understood his own situation a little more quickly. It was rather tedious having to point it out to him more than once.
I knew they are learning, Nancy. You know, just
Okay.
I thought you had a lot of patience there, Janish. A lot of patience with him. So
Ah,
thank you for not
well.
losing your shit. Like
Thank you.
punching
It is not. This is not my domain. It would hardly be appropriate.
Yeah, should have taken him back to your place then and broken him a bit.
Okay. So, with that, the two of you, I assume, unless you have something else to
I'll
add,
go back in.
you'll go back in. It is worth mentioning that, I mean, for all his faults, poor Reginald is still a Cami boy. He's one of the Cam boys. And didn't feel... Sorry? Sorry?
The cowboys.
Same town.
Yeah, it's one of the Cam boys, and it didn't feel like you had his best interests at heart, Dermot. for my faction, right or wrong, is one of our Chronicle tenants. So by not standing up, either trying to solve things in-house or standing up for him in front of another faction, in this case, Janesh, you would be gaining a stain.
He's the faction.
Do you have any convictions that would have, allow you to shield yourself from incoming stain?
Yeah, a couple of them might do. I mean, we are on, I might say, a noble purpose. So if your purpose is noble, God will absolve you of your sins. So we are trying to hunt down a murderer.
Okay, I hear some blagging.
Sounds like a lot of blag there. Fair enough.
I mean,
yeah, I think that's the closest I'm going to come on trying to blag it down. But we are trying to hunt down a murderer, so that's the closest.
So if your purpose is noble, God will absolve your sins. Wow. Actually, I think you get away with it because of the specifics of the situation and also the way it's phrased. It's basically your purpose was noble. So if God were to punish you for going against your faction, right or wrong, which is what the Chronicle tenants do, basically. Since your purpose was noble, you feel that you are absolved of that. As in, yes, we're trying to, especially because you're a Christian, a Catholic, one of the 10 Commandments, you're trying to set things right. So I will allow it. You will shield that stain off. You gain no stains. But now that conviction is spent, and you will need to engage with Kat Gomez again if you want to refresh that conviction.
Really.
Meanwhile, I don't know if you want to make a scene out of this, Bex and Matilda. Sorry, Bex and Alice with Matilda and Nangisel. Because it seems more like you are the distraction, trying to get a negotiation in which you are trying to leverage how much support can he provide that is worth him paying that minor boon.
Yes. But also actively making sure that his back is to everything that's going on
at all points.
Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily think we need to play it. I don't know what you think, Alice. But yes, I mean, ultimately, I think Nanj is not somebody who is going to be. She basically will spend the minimum amount of time possible interacting with this man, such that she'll be on the lookout for whenever Reginald comes back. Yeah. So obviously her part in that is done, because from her perspective, the longer she spends talking to him, the more likely it is to go wrong. So therefore the risk mitigation is keep quiet, and then organise to have the boon paid off so that he gives his support to Matilda.
Okay. So what he says what he agrees to, he says, well, I can provide a small measure of support, or he says he can provide a small measure of support because he has been given domain around Redland.
Okay.
So of course the whole of Redland is not his domain, but he's closer to Clifton and the Downs and Cutham, Redlam. So where he is, he actually votes as a member of that thingy on the BS8.
Yep.
He casts a vote, being sort of the owner of the border in the BS8 area. And the BS8 is a neighboring area of BS3. Yeah. So if he sort of shows his support of Matilda around the BS8 people, then of course when he goes to vote there, those voters might be swayed, even though they're not directly voting. They vote indirectly for you.
Yeah.
He might. I mean, he's just there's so much he can do, but it's a minor boon, so he will do it.
Yeah.
But he says that if you're happy, he will have his child aid in this as an opportunity, sort of like a teaching moment. Basically, he's not letting his child out of his sight while he's doing this. But it sounds like he's trying to groom him for something.
I will definitely agree to this. I'll agree on my behalf, or obviously not on Matilda's behalf. But this is fine. I kind of want to see where he's going with this.
Yeah, likewise.
So there's a little bit of back and forth, and at some points you go like, wait a second, but when you say this, and of course you already know exactly what he means, but you want to draw out the conversation.
Yes.
Until Reginald shows up. He comes and Clarence makes a gesture to approach after you have finished the conversation. Like, have you been enjoying yourself? Oh, yes. I had a conversation with your friend. Talks to you now.
Yeah, he's a bloody genius, isn't he, with music?
Yes. Looking forward to the other acts. Is the live band coming in? And
yes, they should be in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Are you going to come dancing?
Well, it depends. They said it was a tribute band, but I know nothing else.
Yeah, well, that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. I'll be dancing. You come with me.
He looks at Clarence, and Clarence goes like, "Yeah, maybe yes, definitely." So, anyone wants to do anything else now? Because I assume after this, Nanjacel, you no longer owe a boon to him. It has been he no longer owns a boon to you. Yes. It's not been fully cashed in. The service has not been paid for, but you have called it.
Yes.
Remember, so it's in that state. It's considered being called, and he's in the process of paying it.
Yep.
Which is basically the status you are with Teach in that exchange of boons that you've been doing. Like you owe a boon that he already calls for.
Yep.
He's cashing it in.
Otherwise, I think I'm only wanting to talk to Dermot, but that can be, whenever.
Okay. So Matilda at some point will she will be doing a lot of small conversations, and then at some point she will have a chat or maybe say some words.
Yeah, she'll get up and have probably just before the.
Okay. So let's see how interestingly successful this might have been. Can you please do a charisma plus politics roll with one success from Dermot? He will not give you a die. He will give you a success.
Thank you, Dermot.
And
apologies. Can you tell me again what that is? What role?
Charisma plus politics. Also, that success that he's giving you is a 10. For one of the people who shows up and shakes your hand is Prince Nathaniel.
Oh, fuck, alright.
Of the Camarilla.
Jesus.
Who...
Right.
I mean, why would the Malkavian prince come to this event,
Right. As soon as he comes in, she has a moment of eyes go very wide, and then she'll go up to him and...
Oh yes, your composure sucks. So yes, you will not be able to hide your surprise.
He's just fucking... Yeah, actually, no, my composer's not very good. I should try and remember what the right things to do are from the Camarilla and do those as best as she can. And just say, it's a pleasure to see you.
Oh. Hello. Thank you for hosting this lovely event in an Elysium. It allows others to see the workings of the Anarch. May I wish you the best of luck in the coming election. And he extends his hand to shake it. And you could swear you hear a click from the shutter of a phone camera somewhere around you.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's probably paparazzi Squid or more likely paparazzi Audrey, who, as a Banu Hakim, who likes photography.
Yeah, I'll sort of grip his hand and just say, thank you. I mean, as you know, I'm part of a multi-faction coterie, so I value anyone from any faction coming and joining. I think we all should be together and collaborate.
Well, then I will let you to talk to your representees. I'm apologies. I'm not very familiar with the terminology.
That's absolutely fine. I hope you have a good night.
Thank you very much. And he turns around and sort of like sees someone that he recognizes and starts walking in their direction. And Nangisel, you can see Hubert having like a face, like a sense of relief. He's like, oh my God. And Hubert walks towards him and they start chatting away in a corner. But he feels so much more at ease now that Nathaniel is around. You also get wind of Prince Nathaniel showing up, Dermot. And it's weird. It's like, well, from Matilda's point of view, he's the most important Malkavian in the city. So, there you go. He's the most important Malkavian in the city. But regardless of faction, people are, gravitating towards him and sitting down. Dermot will know. With the exception of one probably curious Anarch, everyone gravitating towards Prince Nathaniel is a Malkavian. Even yourself, at some point. And it's not him. You know this is both of your doings. You know he also rides the cobweb. And the moment he said, yes, I'm going, the others listened. And they realized it was a safe place. It was a safe moment. That's what drew people like Hubert to this place. So could you please do a charisma plus politics check, adding a 10, basically, an automatic success in the form of a 10, because Dermot, who was going to give you just a success, upgraded it with his critical win.
Okay. Well, I assume I don't put that in modifiers. We just
no.
Just add
and you also cannot do a blood search because this is a sustained thing across the night. So it's not like you're just That's increasing your blood every single time you talk to people and going hungry very quickly.
Okie dokie.
Ooh, do you want to do a willpower reroll?
Yes, please.
Okay. You can only reroll 2 dice.
That is absolutely fine. I'll do that. Miserable. Absolutely miserable.
Okay, so thanks to Dermot's success, which is a 10, a normal one, and your 10 in your hunger die, you're getting a critical! Yeah. A messy one.
Yeah. Oh, wait, not a messy one.
It is a messy one.
It is a messy one. Cool.
But that means that you have 6 successes, messy critical.
Beautiful.
I think the most appropriate thing here is to say that it was a resounding success. You, though, will gain a compulsion. Probably your clan one. I will think about it over the break. Now, I do believe we have shout-outs.
Well, we do. So one of the things that I want to do is welcome. We have a new supporter on Patreon. So Jason Schneiderman, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you to everybody who has been supporting us for a long, long time. We very much appreciate it. Also, very exciting, for the first time, we now have a prince on the Discord.
Hell to the yeah.
So all hail Prince David.
Yeah.
And give him your full respect. And we will be in touch with you, Your Royal Majesty, pretty soon to talk about juicy good things to give you.
Yeah.
So yes, a special thank you to you and for your long-term support as well.
Yeah. There's also the votes. So later in this episode, we will have the vote. And then later this week, the ghouls will have the vote. And then we will see the results of the votes next week. So just letting you know that one. It is 8:45 here. We will go in a 15-minute break. And then we will return at 9 p.m. local time with part 2 of Blood on the Severn. So, see you in 15. Cheers.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back for part 2 of season 2 episode 9 of Blood on the Severn. And we left things with Matilda being very efficient, very good at what she did. A lot of networking and a lot of good interactions. You were seen with a lot of, movers and shakers of the political scene, both Anarch and from other factions. But something steers, the need to rule rears its head in your blood. You will gain, because of the Messick critical, you did succeed, and you critically succeeded at your task. So I will not take away from it at all. Actually, I will give it the full impact, but you will gain your clan's compulsion, arrogance. So basically, you will stop at nothing to assume command of a situation.
Yeah.
Someone must obey an order from you, and any action not directly associated with leadership receives a 2 dice penalty.
Okay.
The compulsion lasts until an order has been obeyed.
Okay.
Though the order must not be supernaturally enforced, such as through dominate.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. You're feeling empowered. You're feeling already like the representative, and something inside of you.
What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, something inside of you tells you this is what you're meant to do. And of course, it's a compulsion. So this is sort of like Matilda doesn't realize this is taking place. This is just the state of mind she's in.
She should just be in charge. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Ventru, aren't you? So Nangisel and Dermot. After the party is over, do you want to talk that same evening, or do you want to talk the following evening?
I mean, probably that evening, actually. If there's time.
Yes, I mean the party ends. You're not going to party until dawn. At some point, the tobacco factory is supposed to, people are supposed to be taken out. So even though you managed to make it into a slightly later night at around 2 or 3 a.m., Dermot is just there packing his stuff, probably with some of you guys' help, and then you manage to find a moment to have a chat with him.
Okay. So I'll say, Rory, mate.
Hey, Nanj, did you enjoy the Depeche Mode bits? I know you have a fancy for them.
It was a pretty fucking good mix, I thought. I mean, and you won't normally hear me say that because, I like it best when they're as was, but I thought you did some interesting things. But I thought it was good.
That's high praise coming from you.
Well, I calls it how I sees it.
Thanks.
I came to thank you actually.
Right?
I think. Yeah, we went out after my dad and all. And,
yes.
And it was a good thing, I think. It was what I needed. Get my mind off things, right?
I'm glad. That's the idea, generally.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I was fucking hanging the next day, right? I didn't even know he got up and looked rough as a badger's ass. It's not in a, I don't know what. I don't remember everything what we were eating, but I assume that you had some sort of you added something to it, right?
Added something to it. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, well, if you're eating what I was eating, then that was probably quite a lot of.
I was eating what else was I going to eat?
I remember now. Yeah. No, I I apologize for that. I normally have a little bit more than most people can handle. So,
That's what you normally eat?
Mate,
you're having a laugh. That is not... How are you standing here? Are you standing up right now?
Well, you know,
How does that even work?
everybody has their own diets. I saw this documentary once about people that only eat like McDonald's. It's messed up. But you know, it works for them. It works for me.
The bloke what made that documentary is dead, then.
So am I.
Well, it doesn't work for him then, do it? Right. Well, anyways, that's good to know. So what you're saying is, if we go out again, maybe we don't eat the same thing. I'll have a kebab or something.
Or it depends. I mean, some people like the hangover, don't they?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Janusz, what I've got to tidy up after the following day. I was not at my best, should we say.
I understand. I mean, obviously there's a lot going on at the moment. Normally I'd say, you plan for like a couple of days afterwards that you're not doing anything after a proper week and all. But it was a bit spur of the moment, so I'm sorry about that. If you need me to help in any way, I can apologize to Janusz too for kind of leading you without maybe... I mean, I was just in the moment. I just didn't really think about it too much.
No, you ain't gonna apologise for nothing. You made that choice, so I'm responsible for it. That's how it is. But either ways, it would have been good to know ahead of fucking time that I should have taken 2 days bleeding off if I was going to eat the same thing as you.
You know now then. But, it inspired me. Just think about it this way. It inspired me to create what was here tonight. You inspired me.
Well, that seems like a good thing.
Indeed. We did spend half an hour of you arguing with me about, Depeche Mode and how they was like pretty much the be all and end all of music.
That's because they fucking are, mate. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't care what these new fucking people you mix them up with are. They ain't as good as a real thing. Just saying.
Anyway, as long as it helped you along the road you need to go, I mean, as long as you feel better about everything.
I do feel better. I wasn't ready, for that. I think I said to you at the time, it's not what I expected. I don't think he was going to be gone, right? But it's good in some ways, right? Because, it means I got a clearer path now. I know he's not hanging around, and that means he's happy with how I am and what I'm doing, right? So, gotta be pretty good, right? Anyways.
Give us a hand with the stuff then.
What's that?
Give us a hand. We need to get all this out and.
All right. Oh wait. Do you need some more help? I can get Lug to come on down here and help us, can't I?
Oh, that'd be lush. That's what you say, isn't it?
Yeah, that is what I say. It don't sound right coming out your mouth.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'd be lush. I'll get Gert down here. I'll get Lug down here even. And I need help us out. Right. So I'll do that and I'll help Dermot tidy up.
Cool. So Matilda, you said you wanted to have a chat with Squid?
Yeah, I imagine he's just helping to set things up, or he's still there.
Yes, actually he has done his part and he's staying out of the way, like the musicians and their tribute act, highly successful, but they're now taking care of their equipment and he's just taking care of the stuff that he was supposed to. And now he's staying out of the way of people with Audrey. They're having a look at the cameras and phones and stuff.
Okay, I'll go up to them and be like, well, that was a job well done.
There was so many people. We have you shaking hands with at least 32 kindred.
32? Only 32?
Well, yes.
No, I'm kidding.
But, I mean, that is a little bit... That's less than half the population of the city.
No, thank you for all this. I know it was a lot to put together in like a week.
Yes,
but
but
you did a good job.
Thank you. Do you think now I liked your speeches and your conversations. I think you were really good.
Thank you. I think it went quite well.
And Audrey puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "What he's trying to say is, job well done. Pat on the back to all of us."
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, I'm kind of relieved that the prince showed up. I was starting to feel a little uneasy. People are looking at me funny for being Camarilla now. It's like, it's okay, baby, you shouldn't be.
It's fine. I mean, Dermot over there, we've got plenty of people on Anarch.
Yeah, Murray was really, really happy with the music. He really liked it. He's outside helping move stuff, but he really liked the music. But I don't think he wants to be, fawning over DJ O'Shea because he's a friend of yours.
No, well, I will get him that autograph. I know he said no, but I think he probably wants it.
Yeah, that would be
just
nice.
Just being modest.
Maybe getting a mixtape. Like, babe, no one uses mixtapes anymore.
I will. I think he'd like a mixtape very much. I'll ask Dermot.
See?
Maybe. Now he's not doing this and making 50 fucking Depeche Mode remixes. We'll have more time. I look at Audrey and just be like, how are you holding up in the other camp?
Well, you know how it is, isn't it? Is it like that everywhere?
It is. It's
It doesn't feel very different from the structure I had with my own clan, but I mean, we were always very few. We were just 3, but our structure has always been like that, so it doesn't clash. It's just more people. It's just like the family grew in a weird way. I don't know. I do feel that it has impacted definitely on my day to day. Now getting to see Frankie is a little bit more of a struggle. We have managed to secure safe passage for myself here. But it's because I used to be an autarkist, I guess.
Yeah. And the company you're keeping at the moment, are they? I don't know. Are you finding them? Paul?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of them. I barely know them. I definitely do not know their intentions. It was pretty easy with the autarkists. You knew what you were getting into. Everybody was in it for the business, and it was pretty much like a job. And if someone was underperforming, someone higher up will get rid of him or teach himself.
It's not quite as clear in the camera. Though. It's a bit more cloak and dagger.
Yeah.
Just watch out. And you're not stuck. I mean, there's always another way out.
Doesn't feel like it, though. They tell that, some people call us the clan of assassins, and they're like, we just have, I guess, a different agenda. We're more looking into the interests of our clan, and each person in our clan has a defined role. Castes, they call it. And
sounds fun.
Well, there are those like Faisal who are wise and know the old ways. And then my brother is from the warrior caste, so he is basically an enforcer. And I am what they call a vizier, if you can believe that. I'm just supposed to be the face, the diplomatic part, and it suits me. I like negotiating and engaging with people and socializing and coming to, to deals and agreements, and with the camera, it's so much trickier.
Yeah, they have their own structure, their own way of doing things that is hard to break into.
Yeah, but at least there is a structure. That is the only saving grace. Dealing with the Anarchs was interesting because everyone will be different. But then with the Camarilla, sorry, what?
No, did you get any say in the move?
Absolutely not.
Well, that's not good enough. You should be able to decide who you spend your time with what you want your life to be.
I don't want to be. And Squid says, "It's okay, babe. We know you mean well." Like, well, I feel a strong connection to my sire and my brother. The three of us are a group, are a unit, and Faisal has never made a decision that has put us in jeopardy or danger or anything. Everything he has done, always, even if it doesn't look like it, it's always in our best interest. And it's a weird thing to have. I'm not gonna say that we have the best of relationships. Like, no, we're more like a family. Yes, I have arguments with my sire, just as I had arguments with my parents when I was a mortal, but it's a lot about respect and the culture that we have in this little family of ours. So when he made the call, it's not that he had a say either. Our clan was joining a faction. Yeah. This came from really high above. Yeah,
I understand. And it's hard to disagree with family. I understand that. But there is, if you're unhappy, no one should hold you back. So just, I know it's early days and the Camarilla might fit you better in the coming months. Selfishly, I hope they don't, but you are in control of your own life. So,
well, oddly enough, I am. It's just that I am in a weird environment that I don't like.
Okay.
But it's good that Faisal is also the primogen.
Yeah, that helps.
But there are some other brothers and sisters coming. Faisal wants to grow the numbers a little. It's difficult. Because
how many?
Not many. I would assume 2 or 3 more. But now that the Banu Hakim are part of the Camarilla, he just wants them to be a little bit of a stronger voice.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll help steer things in a better direction. I mean, the prince is nice, though. The prince is very, like...
Yes, he is.
That scares me. He's lovely. He's amazing. He's helpful. That scares me a lot, Matilda. I saw you shaking hands with him tonight, and I don't know how he came here, but he is an old kindred. He used to be a seer, or that's what they say. So, be careful.
Yeah.
Very careful around him.
I will. You as well.
I'll manage. Also, I'll pass you the bill later.
Look forward to that one.
Campaign funds, they come and go.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cheers.
And then at the end, Squid hands you over a picture of you. He shows it to you in the camera.
Yeah.
It's like, do you like this one? And it's a really nice picture of you just looking to the side when you're talking with someone and you can see the fire and the passion, it's like you're talking about something meaningful to you.
I just look at it. for a little while and then just say, yeah, that was perfect.
And it feels like a successful night. So I would imagine the following night, well, at the end of that night, the coterie will reconvene unless Peter wanted to talk to somebody. I think you mentioned something.
The only thing I was going to say was that before the end of the night, Janusz will go and feed.
Yeah.
But in terms of this stuff, otherwise it's
Okay. Are you hunting or are you just tapping into your herd?
I'm just receiving a gift from the faithful.
Okay. How much are you slaking?
I'll be slaking 2.
Ooh. Okay. Oh yeah, because you did a lot of rouse chicks and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if the coterie do want to talk this night or whether.
Also, I believe you fulfilled your desire, which was to talk to Reginald. I think you mentioned. I don't know, or if your desire had changed.
I hadn't officially changed my desire, which was around identifying the vulnerable in.
Oh yes, sorry. My apologies. I forgot about that one. Yes,
that's right.
Okay, so Janusz will be able to do that while Dermot and Matilda clear up things, and around at 3 a.m, you're all good to go. And at 3:30, you are back in the new HQ, in the studio. Let's call it the studio.
So all of us are there.
Yes, I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll just throws herself down on the sofa, just exhausted.
Mate, you must be knackered. You talked half the city, haven't you?
Fucking shagged. Oh my god, it was. Yeah, no.
What you were doing looked like much less fun than that, mate.
What?
I said what you were doing looked like much less fun than getting shagged.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, it was really good. It was really, really good.
It was a success. Were it?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, the fucking prince turned up, so I think it was.
Oh, it
yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Well, what was that all? I mean,
that was down to you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the music was down to you, so it was.
Well, you got some appeal, it seems. If the prince is willing to turn up.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's encouraging. It's very
so
encouraging.
What? I wish you would have said so. I wouldn't have needed to spend that boon to get Clarence, would I? Prince turns up. Clarence to do whatever he bleeding says.
Yeah, but you did very well with Clarence.
I was
very impressed.
You know what? I'm glad you noticed it because I didn't lose my shit not at all, did I?
I was going to ask how that went. I understand he is not your
he's a
kindred of choice.
I mean, Nanj kept it to like 1-syllable words mostly, which was, I think, wise.
Well, I think it is a good sign that you're able to confront those that disrespect you in a calm manner. Well, good thing, Nanjazal. Very good.
It seemed like it went all right there, May.
I think it went very well. I mean, I think it's, well enough. So I don't see Felicity doing anything like this. So I'm confident.
No. Well, what about you two? I sent Reggie down your way.
Yes, we did speak with him. And...
Well, I mean, he did his best, didn't he? To try and clean up somebody else's mess. I mean, that's ultimately why it all happened. So,
hang on, so you want the one that did it?
No,
no.
He just witnessed the murder.
So who did it? Did he see?
Yes,
Oh, you good, Janusz? Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, David. Where he saw definitely a kindred, a woman of some kind, perform the act, and it seems she was able to hold her victim in place with some means or other, but not physically. I mean, she was able to hold him in place.
Well, it could be any number of things.
Well, indeed, but clearly a manifestation of power. And he believes that if he was to see her again, he would recognize her. And so we have him watching, meeting the kindred of the city, such that he might be able to identify her and inform us who she is.
Did he say she had any defining features? Was she tall, small?
Dark hair. Couldn't tell if it was black or brown. She had like a Roman nose and was wearing a cape or some such. I mean, maybe she's some kind of vigilante or something. You know?
He said not particularly tall.
Or was it a cloak?
A cloak?
Yeah. Yeah, like with a hood.
What?
Isn't there a starting point then of Anarch women who come from clans that can do this sort of thing? Right? Because that would give them reason to be in the area. All right. Yeah, he really shouldn't have been.
Reginald was in the area. He's not an Anarch. It doesn't necessarily have to be an Anarch.
No, I'm not saying it has to be. I'm saying it's a starting point, isn't I?
There can't be many kindred who run around Bristol wearing cloaks these days, unless it is on the night of a particular festival.
Exactly. I mean, surely Hubert knows pretty much everybody. We could just surely have a chat with Hubert and see if he knows anybody who fits the description.
He was at your party, wasn't he? I didn't get a chance to chat to him.
He looks a bit uncomfortable, which is...
He always looks uncomfortable.
Well, I thought he was enjoying himself, you know.
I mean, he sort of shrunk into the wall until the prince came, then he seemed fine.
Well, I don't know, maybe he was composing his next postcard. Who knows?
Yes, if Reginald does not deliver the information, then we should consider how we will move on from here. And I agree that we have a number of avenues open to us. There is, as you've said, Hubert might be able to identify one. There might be those within the domain. Although this individual does not seem to care much for the laws of Bristol. So they could have come from anywhere.
He recognises.
Indeed. Teach is likely to know everyone or be able to find out.
Yeah. Perhaps we should go to him with a bit more. I don't know if we'd think it's a woman with a medium build. Well, there's enough information to make it worth his while.
I usually have to go give him updates, don't I? I could tell him what we know.
It was a knife that was used, by the way.
Stabbed him in the back of the neck and then chopped his head off bit by bit.
Wait. If that's what size of a knife? Like a short knife or like a...
He was not very clear, but he did mention that it was an unusual looking weapon.
Like a ceremonial.
But it's not easy to put someone's head off with a knife.
No, indeed.
I mean,
it didn't sound like it was particularly easy. It was like a grisly affair from the sounds of it.
When I saw the head had it was ragged, right? Like it had been torn about. Right, yeah.
Like very not delicately cut or chopped, or like as if someone was like pulling as they were like cutting and tearing. So there are tears and cuts and stuff. It was, but also the skin decayed.
But that's got to have some meaning, right? Because if he was someone who knew about this sort of thing, you'd use a more appropriate thing, unless you had some cause to want to use that specific thing, right?
I mean, do you know why they're doing this? Because what I don't understand is why somebody would kill somebody like that. It feels quite brutal.
Yeah.
We do not understand this killer, but we might be able to begin to understand them. If we can understand if there is any other purpose to what they're doing, or whether it is simply a reckless, mindless act of brutality.
I don't think that makes sense if it's another... He was the second person, wasn't he?
It is not the first to be killed in this way.
No.
Premeditated pretty severely.
Well,
yeah.
I will see if there is anything I can learn about this manner of execution, whether there is some other older meaning to it in one place or another. It is certainly not something that is familiar to me, but that is not to say it is not a practice carried out in other places.
How did you leave it? Sorry, no, you go.
I'll have a think about what sort of thing she might have been doing that made him stand there. Right, because that might narrow our field somewhat. Otherwise, I'll have a punt around, see if I can find out anything about anyone matching this sort of description. The thing about a cloak is, all you've got to do is take it off and you look different, don't you?
Yes, indeed. But it seems an unusual thing to wear for a disguise, for it will draw attention.
Well, if he's saying he'd know this person again, if he saw him, then maybe there's an argument that you go to the library, get pictures of all of the women who are registered at the library, show them all to him, and he'll pick one out.
Well, I doubt
They don't have
that they
pictures.
will keep pictures of such things, or it will be a.
He's keeping information.
That's a good point. I mean, likely she hasn't registered herself with Hubert, but we should probably check these things out. But otherwise, I mean, in terms of what?
I'm just saying, all the information that Hubert asked me for, the last time I had to go and account to him, or whatever the fuck they call it, yeah?
Right.
You're telling me he's collecting all that information, he ain't collecting pictures? What sort of use is that?
Well, he's got pictures in his mind, you know.
Alright, well, he can tip him out of his mind, can't he, onto the page?
So we're going to ask him to do drawings of all the women.
It's a route, I'm saying.
Well,
Anyway.
perhaps Dermot might wish to speak with Hubert then.
I'll see if I can set up a meeting with him and maybe we can have a chat or something like that and see if we can get some information out of him.
Well, at least if you can get a list of the people, your cameras around the place could pick up images or something
It's
like
a good
that.
point.
Yeah.
Do you want me to have a look? See, I mean, I could scout out the area a bit. I mean, is it Anarch territory where that happened?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
We can go there though, right? Because we're investigating.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to get the proper permissions and all, but maybe if we put in a little quick request, we can have a wander around and see if there's any kind of sort of cameras or the likes, and we could do a little see if we can gather some like photos or like video of evidence. I mean, you know, some of us can kind of, well, some of us can wander past without being seen by such things, but not all.
Well,
Not
it's
many.
a long enough time ago. I imagine they ain't gonna still have the footage, but don't mean we can't have a look who's around the area, right?
It's not that long. It depends. Depends. So we can have a look, see if there is anything.
If we wait a few
Wasn't
nights.
it
then-
5 years ago? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
No. This is the recent one. Just
Oh, I
happened.
think you have the one for Scott.
Sorry, what?
Well, by the way, if you're right and they got the footage, it's fine. If it ain't, then
Well, we can have a check. The one
Yeah.
from a long time ago, I imagine there's going to be nothing. No.
Yeah,
I
that,
suppose this
5 years.
sounds like something that you can handle.
How did he leave it with Reginald?
How did we leave it?
I mean, yeah, was he unhappy? Was he...
Well,
miffed
he
that-
Oh, he's unhappy.
yes, but not with us.
Was he unhappy enough that he's going to tell his sire? What? Did
He's
he
not
No.
that fucking,
No.
not that fucking stupid.
Well,
His sire is unaware of all of this and
Okay,
will be very
good.
angry if he was to find out, which is one of the reasons why he will do what we need him to.
well, it's a good introduction, isn't it, to the world?
Yes, I feel he's learning a lot from this
Good for him.
exchange.
he's going to well.
Maybe a
into-
survivor after all, isn't it?
Into the fire. But we have an agreement, and I think, yeah, his ire is kind of directed elsewhere. Should be okay.
okay.
Right.
So, I think that's, well, unless you have anything else that you want to do.
You know me, I can chat away. So I'll. If you've got stuff you want to do, Carlos, you do it. Otherwise, I'm going to carry on talking.
Well, it looks like you have already sort of discussed the main points around the party and the chat with Reginald. So, if no one has any pressing issues or pressing stuff, the week after is going to be the election, and I wanted to jump into that. So, unless you have any scenes that you would like to play out during that week.
I
Well,
think the
I'm
only... Sorry, go ahead.
I probably want to have a conversation with Janusz at some point, but it can be whenever fits him.
Okay.
I think the only thing is, considering it's maybe time sensitive, is getting us some agreement to go and check out that area, do a recce on the place, and certainly Dermot will be trying to see if he can spot any cameras, and then basically be working to try and get camera feed stuff, but that can take some time. So
I don't
over the course of the next week.
Okay. We'll come back to that. Yes.
think that it needs a scene, but I will go and see Teach and keep him up to date because
Okay.
I don't want to get another bollocking.
Good. Good. That is perfect. That is amazing. And I think yes.
I was only going to say, this again is not a scene, I don't think, but in the background, Janusz will be walking the dogs around the church area sometimes and just seeing, just starting to get an idea of who's coming and going, but nothing.
Will you be showing up to the chess games and stuff, or are you just going to be looking from afar?
I mean, maybe if it's one of because obviously it's winter at the moment, so he can, in theory, turn up in a relatively early evening and it be dark. So, yeah, I don't see why not.
I need to go and stalk people on your behalf.
You do need to stalk people on my behalf.
I'd be doing that as well in the week.
But yeah, I don't necessarily need to do that now, but it's just stuff that will be going on in the background for your reference.
Okay.
But
so from Nangisel, I'm just gonna make a simple check.
Am I hungry, by the way?
Yes, you are.
You're
Actually,
full,
you
right?
are. You were at hunger 4 at the end of that night. So, I would imagine you're hunting.
Sure.
In the domain.
Sure.
Cool.
There's houses to break into, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always houses.
Yes, and actually, I'm gonna have a roll because you are at hunger 4. So
Let's have a roll.
Oh,
so
this went well last
this
time.
is going to be.
It'll be fine. The worst that could happen is some plot.
You have the breaking specialty.
Yes, yes, it helps me eat.
That is very, very useful. Are you rousing the blood?
No. Just because I don't know the rules, don't teach me.
Ooh, you can succeed at a cost.
Sure. I'll take it.
Well, I mean, do you want to know the cost beforehand?
No.
Because you just got two successes, and you need 3. And you need 3.
Yep.
Oh well, unless you want to use your will, you can willpower it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like an appropriate thing to spend willpower on because it feels like the kind of thing I can't know I failed at. So therefore, I think succeed at a cost is better.
You also will need your willpower for the hunger
Failure.
frenzy.
Yeah.
Well, no, because when you feed a hunger 4, you'll have to make a hunger frenzy check.
Oh, will I?
Yes.
Okay.
So having your willpower is useful for that.
Yes.
I should probably keep it that. Well, anyway, it doesn't feel like it's appropriate to use it for that. So
That's
I'll
very
take
good. Okay, so the cost is
Cost is my soul.
What remains?
the house that you find and manage to break in is just on the other side of the street where your domain ends.
That's great.
It's just, I mean,
Wait,
it's
so I'm out of the
so
domain.
close. I mean, you are in the edge of the domain, and the way these lines are drawn, like there is, like if you go Sheldon Road, Sheldon Road is when it's Romey Avenue, and then it changes name to Sheldon Road on the following corner in Sheldon and Lindsay. It's right there. It's right, like literally the other side of the street. It's right there. I mean, but this is Sheldon Road, and it's supposed to be, and this intersection because it's like the one that makes like a little inside corner. But I mean, that's where you can feed.
It's fine. I'll feed there. I know a bloke that can sort out the carrot food. So,
Okay.
I mean, also if I have a hunger frenzy, it's not our domain, right?
No.
Someone else's problem.
Quits in.
Yeah, exactly.
Your funeral. So how much are you slaking?
How hungry am I? 4?
Yeah.
What kills a person? 3.
Well, 3 hurts them. Like.
What doesn't? What's like within the tolerance level of not breaching the masquerade?
Well, the safest you can, if you drink gently for someone and you take a whole scene to do it, you can slake up to 2 without harming them. They will be DC and a little weak, from it. 3 is starting to get dangerous. 4 is definitely sending them to a hospital due to blood
let's
loss.
do 2 then.
Okay.
So, whatever checks I have to make, I've got a result. I've got a chance of being net the same as I want.
Okay. So So you find this house.
Yeah.
You come easily through the door that leads to the, how do you call it, the back garden,
Yes.
which is sort of ajar, and then you just push it and it's open. It doesn't creak that much. Probably fairly like used a lot. And it looks like people were having like a little get together, even though it's cold. But there's a fire pit. It's a very well kept back garden. Is there
a fire in the pit?
No, but you can see the embers. You can see the coals in the embers. You know, it's like
okay.
So people, even though the weather's getting cold, people were probably out with a fire pit. You know, probably with some blankets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you try the patio door, and it just slides. It was closed but not locked. And once you go inside, it's a house. It's a 2-story house. The lower area, you come in through the living room. The one door leading to a hallway, and you can recognize a small half bathroom, a kitchen to the left, the main entrance to the right, and right there the stairs with a little cloakroom next to it. And once you get to the second floor, you see there are 3 bedrooms. And the one at the end of the hall at the left, it seems to be the master bedroom, where there is a couple laying there.
Is there anyone in any of the other bedrooms? Like an individual, single person?
One of the bedrooms has someone probably in their very early 20s.
Okay.
And the other room is empty.
I will go for the person in their 20s.
Okay. You very carefully approach them and ask, and you wait. You measure yourself until they turn and their neck is exposed, which is easier than just touching them, because that might, if you move them, that might wake them up. And the moment your fangs sink in the neck, just blood starts gushing out, and you actually press your lips around the neck, and that's when you gently hold them in place. And they seem to be enjoying it, and you are enjoying it, and the blood is gushing into your mouth, and you're gonna do a frenzy check. So lucky for you, you have all of your willpower.
Well, whatever it is for. I can't remember. What is it? It's
Five.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't need too many successes to survive this. It's quite funny if you fail it.
It is quite funny if I fail.
Yeah, good banter.
In an awful kind of way.
Ooh, and you succeed with 4 successes. You manage to hold the beast in and drink. You can hear some movement from the master bedroom. And you can feel, now that you're really close to this person, there's this little sort of like after smell of wine. As if they have been enjoying a night and having some drinks. And there's a little bit of that in his blood, but it's not too much. But from the giggling that you're starting to hear in the next room, it looks like somebody else did have a little bit more. And as Nigel slowly drinks from this person and finishes, she has to wait for the occupants of the room that is literally in front. They did not have the decency of even shutting the door of their own room. You'll have to wait until they're done, which will put a little bit of a strain in the in the time you have to get back. I mean, you will be in your domain immediately because you will cross the street, but then that means that you have to book it.
Can I obfuscate myself?
Yes, but then
Because if they haven't shut the door, they might see me.
Yes, you will have to do a rouse check for that.
Sure.
So
I mean, I wouldn't want to take unnecessary risks, right?
that is yeah, that is a good cost. So I'm gonna do a rouse check for your
Sure.
unseen passage. You luckily do not go hungry. You are well fed and happy and not as hungry anymore.
Visible.
And that actually helps you a lot in getting back inside your domain. Hopefully no one will notice ever. Ever.
Not.
Okay. So, other than that, Janish, you will have a very good idea of the movement across this week. You will see a couple of people that you saw last week. So now you need 1 or 2 more weeks, and then you start making a pattern. But you have identified a couple of people. Awesome. You have not been able to identify. Doesn't seem that the person Father Michael has been playing these interesting games has shown up over the course of this week.
Sure. Do any of them look like they are not very together, evidently in distress or struggling? Or do they just look like normal people?
They look like normal people. Some of them might look like a little down or a little up, but you would need a few more instances of you seeing them.
That's fine.
And Dermot, if you could please do me a resolve plus technology roll for your efforts across the week of getting the information from the surveillance system, so you can use your technology, your surveillance specialty of technology.
Oh yeah. Can I rouse for this as well, or is this is an extended thing, isn't it?
This is an extended thing.
So yeah, okay.
Okay. You can willpower though, but you only can reroll 2 dice if you do so. There is a 10, so there's a possibility of a critical win, but that's
I will
about
definitely.
it.
This is important, so
okay.
I'm really interested in seeing what we get.
5 successes, actually. You got it. So, but it only just, as in, no, 3, 4, 5. Let me check my notes. Okay, you said that this was important, so you will succeed. I'm not gonna make it at a cost. It's just you find something the night of the election.
Okay.
So it's basically you will have no chance to forewarn the others because you would have it until tonight.
Yeah. It's taking time.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, something doesn't need to be a scene, but I think over the week, because I know that Mitchell was chomping at the bit to be useful, Matilda would have asked him to keep an eye out for someone matching this description, ask around, see if he knows anyone, and then just give him that to do and to come back if he finds anything.
Actually, that's quite good and useful because he was getting restless. Yeah. So it's good that you remembered instead of having it happen in the background when he loses it.
Yeah.
Because you approach him and say, well, I mean, we have a lead, and this is the lead, and this is what you're going to do, and this is how we're going to behave. You're not bossing him around or ordering him around because it would be dangerous because he's a Bruya, but also that's not the type of relationship you have with him. So sadly, you will not be able to get rid of your...
It's fine. I'm happy to have my compulsion on election night. That's
okay. So, well, actually, and also you are basically bossing people around the closer it gets to the deadline, but it's not that you are ordering them. It's like you don't fulfill your compulsion because you're not telling someone what to do. You're just going like, give me those papers, put that, move that. People know what they need to do. You're just giving instructions. You're being less subtle about it, but you're not actually telling someone just you know what, get down on your knees and scrub the floor or whatever. You're not like being forceful in any of the thing in the interactions you're having.
With Mitchell, it's more sort of equitable.
Okay, cool. So it is election night for the kindred, for the Anarch vampires. Licks, how some of them call each other, of Bristol. Some non-Anarch will have votes. Let's go with your vote, Matilda Wells. Your ballot will have, of course, the candidates for the BS3 area, which are yourself, of course, Felicity, the current representative, Felicity Harris, and a guy named Patrick Ford.
That's good. Let's vote for him. No, I'll vote for myself.
Okay, that's sensible and reasonable. You will also gain to get to vote in 3 different areas. One would be the BS41 area, where Roger Smith is actually running for the first time, it seems, against someone that could... I mean, he's not gonna give him a run for his money, but he used to be the Camarillas Bruja primogen. Christopher Hughes, child of former, how do you call them? Not sheriff. Yeah, sheriff. Constable. Thomas Waterman. So we're talking a Bruja Ancilla, who's always sort of like a parliamentarian kind of guy.
Yeah.
Christopher Hughes is a well-known name, and he has always been on that side of the argument, ever since his sire took the side of the parliamentarians during the Civil War. So he was known as a voice of dissent in the Camarilla. It makes no surprise to anyone that he would defect to the Anarchs. And he's running against Roger in the BS41 area.
Oh.
He is all about change.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. Yeah, if she would have known, she would have made herself aware of the candidates, and if she was aware of what he was like and what he sort of stood for, then she'd cast her vote for him.
Okay. But you're voting for Roger or not? Or you're voting for Christopher?
Just to be clear, the votes never go public, do they?
Nope.
Cool. I'll vote for Christopher.
Ooh, Christopher Hughes. The next one is BS8. You have, for the BS8 area, Maxine... No, that's not BS8. Sorry. Yes, Maxine Winters. She's a thin blood.
Good for her. Let's vote for her. Wait, is there anyone else running against her?
Yeah, a toreador called Wallace Turner, who is...
I'll vote for the thin blood.
But for the thin blood, because they're thin blood.
Yeah.
And last but not least, BS13 area, in which you have Lucinda...
Is that the one with Malkavian?
Yeah, Lucinda Brigstow, the Malkavian. And a Bruja by the name of Emma Lewington, former Cami as well. And you can see that the Bruja that left the Camarilla all are going in throngs, going for positions of power when they can. Lucinda is the one that you met at your party, and she was there.
Yeah, let's vote for her.
Okay. Now, Dermot, you will not be able to see the face of the woman, but it's very recognizable. That description that Reginald gave you is really useful in finding someone with a hood and cloak as they move around some of those streets. When you find that footage, you try to piece together the path of them coming in and out, and actually they are wearing the hood most of the time. So even when they lift their faces shadowed, but it sort of conforms to that. But what you find out by looking at the footage, it's not who this person is. Yes, they look weird and they have a hood, but they're walking around. It's who they're following. You do have politics, don't you?
Yeah, just a dot.
That's enough for you to recognize that the person this hooded figure is following is one Jacinta, Anarch representative of the BS16 area. And you know her, not only of her, but know her because the BS16 area borders your domain, the coteries domain. She's following in closely. Not closely, as in...
Does it look like a shadowing kind of...
Yes.
Careful?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why it's so difficult to catch her on camera. It's not because she knows where the cameras are and whatever. No, she's deliberately being very, like, skulking and shadowing someone. So she's not even showing in most of the cameras. Sometimes she's in the blind spot because she might be standing underneath the camera. But in other places, she's in a place where the camera can see her, but Jacinta won't. And she's following. And at some point, Jacinta goes into a place and stays there. And you see the timestamps. And she's there for about an hour. And the woman is just there. And it looks like she's talking to herself or doing something. And then continues until they get out of the area. Jacinta gets into a car. And this woman just quickly disappears down the road. So, what do you do with this information?
I think at this point, Dermot's probably going to, in terms of the technology, because this is election night, isn't it?
Oh, yes, I forgot to tell you. Your coterie gets to cast a vote on BS16.
Oh.
Sorry, I forgot. Yes, because you are sort of like the lords of the domain that borders BX16. It's the only Anarch territory you border with. Is the one that Jacinta is part of.
Okay.
And well, everybody knows that Jacinta and Matilda are friends. But it's up to you if you want to vote for her or not. And the person running against her, surprise, surprise, former Camarilla Bruya.
Christopher Hughes.
No, Christopher Hughes.
He's running in all the different ones.
Jeff March.
Does Janusz know if either of them are very pally-pally with Roger Smith?
Well, Jacinta was embraced and alive around the time Roger Smith disappeared. And when Roger Smith was, and then she was, like, her story is kind of known. And that's why she was made representative almost immediately, because she was staked by those who were performing the coup. It was found out the disappearance of Roger Smith was not an act of the Camarilla, it was a coup of some anarchs that were unhappy with him and staked him. And apparently she had gotten wind of it, and when she went to have a chat with Roger, she was staked as well. So of course, when the events of 2008 happened, she was brought back.
So she's an ally of Roger's, right?
Of sorts. That the fact that they were torpor together doesn't make them chums.
Do we have to vote as a coterie, or do we get individual votes?
No, you have to vote as a coterie.
Ah, okay.
Oh, well, that needs a role play then.
That's probably a scene then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then that is going to be the first scene of next episode, because it is almost 10, and I don't think it's going to be a 2-minute conversation.
No.
Nope, somehow.
But also, it'll make things interesting, but because not only our players are choosing who to vote for for the BS16 representative, also every other Anarch in Bristol will show their support for their preferred candidates, and our lovely ghouls will get their vote and let us know what happens next week for the season finale of Blood on the Severn. Season 2 comes to an end, and then we will have a 2-week break in which I will check with my notes because I don't want to misspeak here. So we will have our final episode 10 session next Monday, the 22nd of March. Then the week of the 29th of March is going to be a rest week for everybody. And then on the week of the 5th of April, as a prelude to the start of season 3, we will be airing Dermot's Embrace with guest players. And then we will come back on the 12th of April for season 3, episode 1. So that's sort of the layout. Either way, I will be saying it again next week so you know everything, and more information will show up in our blog post later this week and next. So everyone is voting. SPCs are voting, PCs are voting, ghouls are voting. Go to the polls and let us know what's gonna happen next week. Until then, I'm gonna love you and leave you and wish you a good night. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.